We are back with more Dragon Ball Daima. This time, episode 16, titled For Degesu. And I gotta say, considering he's been mostly a filler character, having this be almost an entire episode based on filler just seems to make too much sense. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with variants cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Dragon Ball Daima, episode 16, Degesu, and we pick up right where we left off from the last episode. More filler. It was okay episode overall. Not think we're really missing too much. Basically, you need to tune in the last 5 minutes of the episode so you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. But here is what happened throughout the episode in case you just want to be filled on in. Overall, we started off with our heroes having finally stormed the castle in the first demon realm, the most outer layer, because there's multiple layers you get inside of a castle. The most outer layer has been vanquished, defeated. Our heroes stand triumphant thanks to Pansy and her dad, even though I think Vegeta, Goku, Glorio, and of course Piccolo would be able to storm it rather successfully and rather easily because right now it looks like the Gender Marie are basically one of the lamest groups we've had in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, GT, etc. They are the king of trash, if that makes sense. They are the worst of the worst. There's nobody else that we would ever consider as like even remotely worse. Their gimmick is worse than the Ginyu Force. Like the Ginyu at least had something going for them when they existed. I don't really know what the Force group and I gotta say, the fact that they all went against Vegeta, well, a 5v1 is nothing like a good warm up for the Prince of All Saiyans. And of course, considering that none of them seem to have any powers, abilities, anything special about them, the only thing they have is equipment. And their equipment looks like it malfunctioned, caused the captain to burn his hand. And next thing you know, they are clapped in the rubbery irons. That seems to be what we use to contain prisoners throughout the demon realm. So that was rather short, sweet, and succinct. And it was kind of funny. We had the one individual from the January Force Captain group who was out there twirling around a knife and he was getting his blaster ready and he was all excited and prepped to get to action. And then Vegeta, of course, just one key blast, down he goes. That's all she wrote. Have a nice day. It kind of reminded you of like the Indiana Jones scene where Harrison Ford was actually sick on set that day, and he was supposed to have this creative and elaborate fight with this one individual. But instead, after the individual finished their showboating and being all flashy, he just went pew, and that was it. Prop gun and all that good stuff. And down she goes. So that really felt like what this episode was in a sense, as Vegeta was able to easily and rather succinctly get right through. And then Vegeta, of course, not a fan of interior decorating or anyone's castle walls for any number of reasons. He doesn't like being kept out of things. Starts just going layer by layer by layer, knocking things off. And eventually, our group finally decides to split up and kind of do a Scooby Doo S search. We put all of our strong people in one group. You guys go to the front. Everyone else is going to kind of fan out and go through the perimeter and just kind of clean up the area overall. As the groups are splitting up, Pansy is kind of at a loss here. She wants to go with our hero. She wants to stay with her dad. She's in this weird position. She doesn't really say anything to anybody, but you can tell in her heart and in her eyes that she's just kind of perplexed. She doesn't know which direction she's going to go. Ultimately, she decides, hey, I'm going to go with Goku and the gang. I think they're going to need me. But also, Glorio was able to pick up on this because, again, he's been playing double agent for so long now. Where his true loyalty lies is basically anybody's guess. We know originally when he took the job, he didn't care about anybody. He probably didn't really think he was going to get all that caught up in what was going on. He was going to get like motivated via the heart as opposed to motivated via the wallet. As we know, when your heart's truly motivated, you're going to do things at 110%. When it's only motivated by the wallet, you're going to go about 80, 90%. There's no reason you're really going to go 100% because at the end of the day, you're like, I can always find another place that will pay more. So Glorio is kind of in this weird position where he decided to follow Pansy, but I'm not really sure where his true loyalty is at currently, anyway, I should say. And then as everything's kind of going on, we see that Degesu has finally just fallen apart. The man has been trying to scheme his way to the top basically since day one. Apparently, in a Glynn's true nature is to be someone who seeks more and more power. They're basically that person at your job that no matter how high up they get, they really will try and weasel and just connive and work their way even higher through just backstabbing, betrayal, snitching on people, that sort of thing. Degesu is that coworker you don't want. And he's finally like, look, I'm done with Goma. I'm done with his crap. Dude doesn't know what's going on. His plan's entirely falling apart. I want to be the Demon Realm King. I don't want to be somebody's number two anymore. I can't do this job. It's not really what I'm interested in. Ruling is the only thing I was born for. And he succinctly calls out his brother on his brother's crap. Because look, as much as we like Supreme Kais, we're not also going to ignore the fact that he's done the same thing. Because it's like, even Goku's like, what do you do? And he's like, I keep peace and maintain everything in the galaxy. My guy, I remember you from Dragon Ball Z in the Buu saga. You provided next to nothing for anybody. So you're kind of a succinct waste of time for a lot of important pieces. Sure, you saved our heroes a little bit, but at the end of the day, we know that the universe is both saved and in trouble because Goku exists. He's kind of the deus ex machina in both directions as everyone wants to fight him, so the world's in permanent danger, but also he's usually strong enough he's able to save the day, or he'll have one of his side characters, finish the job for him. Because Goku, if you actually look at the Dragon Ball numbers throughout, whether it be Ball, Super, GT, or Z, he is literally not that high up in the count of eliminating people. But I digress. As the episode commences, Degesu has Dende basically just as a hostage. He's holding him against his will. He says, hey, don't make any moves. No one stop me. But again, Goku forgets he has the ability to do this and teleport wherever he wants and, pick up Dende because Goku's IQ is that of a wet rock. So ultimately, Pansy is the one who makes most of the save as she is the distraction that gets Degesu's attention away from Dende long enough. And then Glorio, who followed her, was able to make the ultimate save, throwing these rubbery prison bands directly at Degesu, knocks him down, really confuses him. And then next thing you know, Piccolo comes in, good old key blast, just to ensure that everything is handled. And we don't got to have to worry about Degesu anymore, who is still awake, but he's definitely not going to be a threat to anybody any longer. Unfortunately, Degesu also had a backup plan for the third eye belt, one of the Demon Realm's greatest relics to be delivered. And the person he had deliver it is not all that intelligent. She's a bit of a coward, but at the same time, she really delivered on her promise and gives it to Goma, which, of course, someone is going to make a gif or a meme of the third eye kind of going like in and out directly of Goma's head because yeah, if you just watch that scene over and over again, it's a little sus. It's just a little sus. But ultimately, it looks like we're gonna have Goma finally have this huge power up as he's just impaled in his eye, and the next thing you know, he's swelling up to this massive form. As well, we had Oob and company finally show on. Well, not Oob and company. We had Ku show up and company, so we're going to be able to see what they're going to do as it looks like next week we're finally going to get an all-out action-packed battle as we slowly start wrapping up this series. I'm Brent for Geek Variants. Be sure to hit that lovely subscribe button if you want to see the end of the series with us as we cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. An okay episode, but again, next week's probably where things are going to pop off again as we're getting back to more action. I'll see you in the next episode.